Hello, and thank you for joining us on The World Now. At a time the world is tracking the war between Israel and Iran, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the Israeli military now has full control over Iran's skies. But Iran is warning that if Israel does not stop the strikes on its territory, its responses will be more severe. We have more details in this report.
Israel and Iran are still exchanging missile attacks as their conflict runs into a fourth day. Both sides are recording casualties and destruction of property. Air raid sirens sounded in Jerusalem and across central and northern Israel as Iran claimed Sunday afternoon that it had launched a new missile barrage at Israel under a new stage of its Operation Real Promise 3. The targets included Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's family residence. The current escalation was triggered by Israel's deadly surprise strike targeting nuclear facilities across Iran last week Friday. The attack killed dozens of senior military officials, nuclear scientists and civilians in Iran and triggered retaliatory missile and drone attacks by Iran. The Iranian Health Ministry said on Sunday night that Israeli attacks have killed 224 Iranians and injured more than 1,200 others, while Iranian attacks have killed 16 people in Israel since last week Friday. The Israeli cabinet has approved the extension of the nationwide state of emergency declared by the country's defense minister on Friday, which is to end on the last day of this month. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps intelligence chief Mohammad Kazemi and his deputy Hassan Mohikik have been killed in an Israeli attack, their deaths have been confirmed by Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel is willing to call off its campaign if Iran accepts US demands to dismantle its nuclear program. The Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Herzog, who visited the scene of the Iranian missile strike in Bat Yam, where 6 people were killed and dozens were injured, condemned the attack as he appealed to residents to be resilient. On his spot, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian says if Israel's hostile actions continues, his country's response will be more decisive and severe.
And joining me now here in Lagos State to take a deeper look into this conflict disturbing the world is the foreign affairs analyst Kelechi Deka. Thank you for joining us on The World Now at this time. This conflict, when we listen to the casualties involved, it seems like a mismatch militarily. Much greater casualties are being registered in Iran. The one thing we know that it has is a lot of missiles to fire. But how long do you think Iran can sustain this before they say perhaps the losses are too great, we have to back down?
Yeah, hello. The question is not just how long Iran can sustain, it's also how long Israel can sustain the mission. I mean, if you listen to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he has already given conditions. And the conditions he's given is too late because yesterday was supposed to be the meeting of the Joint Action Committee between Iranians and the EU and the International Energy Agency in Oman. So why did you go ahead and start an attack when there was supposed to be a meeting to talk about the nuclear situation in Iran? And after the attack, after the escalation, and after the death of so many people, now you are calling on Iran to stop its nuclear program. I mean, it's neither here nor there. Israel cannot sustain this mission. Iran cannot sustain this mission if the madness continues. Is going to lead to a very crunch situation whereby it will have a lot of toll. Iran and Israel but Lebanon, Jordan, and all their neighbors. Because from since that Friday, there's been a lot of challenges. Air transportation has been grounded around the region, and it's affecting the economy of the region.
But what do you think at this time of the war? Both sides seem not to be ready to, back down. And this is day 4 of the conflict. How dangerous is this for both sides and to the rest of the world if there is a possibility of escalation?
Yeah, there's a possibility of escalation because I think Israel is, maybe thinking of how to draw the United States into this battle. And that would be very, very dangerous for the region because it will force Iran into taking some decisions the whole world might regret. And that's what world leaders, this is the time for world leaders to stand up and start talking and start calling everybody to order that this madness must stop now. Because if it escalates beyond this, yes, Israel might control the skies, but Iran still has a high number of missiles that can do a lot of damage across the region. So it's not about controlling the skies. It's about the extent of damage you can also do. And if you see what's happening in Israel, both Israelis and Iranians, all of them are running helter-skelter, and this is not good for the region. Nobody's going to win this war, and I think that's what people should know. Israel is not going to win. Iran is not going to win. If they continue on this ego tripping, there's a lot of demystification going around, and it's not good for both of them. And if they continue as they're going to cripple both nations and pull the entire region down with them.
You've said that Israel is not going to win, Iran is not going to win this war, but there is Donald Trump, who was the man who demanded pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal, which began this war at this time. But do you think he's behind this conflicts, behind Israel on this conflict that they have brought against Iran at this time?
Yeah, if you listen, that the messages coming out from the United States, it has been so mixed. Because first, the Secretary of State, Rubio, said earlier on Saturday that United States has no hand in it. Then after a few moments later, the President of the United States, sent out on his X, boasting about it and claiming about it. And before it, Rubio came out again. And there's a lot of mixed signals. A lot of people believe that because Israel has the backing of the United States, is doing some of the things he's doing, he's taking some of the actions he's doing because he feels that he has a godfather behind them that can help them if things get worse. But there's a lot of divided attention. If you've been following a lot of developments in the United States, so many people in the United States are also calling for caution and not calling that America is not willing to join this campaign at this material point in time. What a lot of people are so distressed about is that why did Israel choose to start this attack at a time Iran has already accepted to come back to the negotiating table? This, negotiation over their nuclear capabilities had been going on. And if you remember, Obama had a program that was already working. And when Trump came during his first time, he tore it up and came up with another program, which the Iranians also accepted and started working on it. And that's what they've been on. Now, Israel came and disrupted everything. So some people are thinking that maybe by this action, Israel might not really be seeking for a peaceful resolution to the Iranian nuclear debacle.
And you've spoken about the potential of an escalation with Iran. Israel is fighting Gaza. Israel is also fighting Iran. How likely is this to, have an effect on its military and its also its nuclear weapons?
Yeah, from the way things are, all of them are going to be. So if you check the distance between Israel and Iran, they're not neighbors per se. I mean, this is a distance of almost close to 1,700 to 800 kilometers, and which means there are about 2 countries in between both of them. So for them to be able to attack each other effectively, they need a leverage. Israel is using the air capability. Iran is using the long-range missile capability, which it has in high quantity, while Israel also has the area prowess in high quantity. But in the long run, both of them are going to be exhausted. They're going to get to the level whereby they know that they are no more inflicting the quality of injury that's needed for the other side to come to submission. And if you know Iranians very well, you know that this is going to be a long drawn fight unless Israel stops attacking.
It's day 4 of the war, and you know, there are expectations as to how this will likely be resolved among both parties. But that's a fine place to leave the conversation for now. Foreign Affairs Analyst Kelechi Deka, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
And still on the conflicts, the United Kingdom is sending the very expensive Raptor jet to the Middle East as fighting between Israel and Iran gets